All right. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 1 of the My 26 Cents podcast with your host, Kristofer Gulvezan. I'm going to start out this episode, the first one, which is like take or attempt number, I don't know, 9 at this point. I kind of lost count. I've tried many ideas of this thing, but I finally figured out how I'm going to do it. This is how the podcast is going to work. There's going to be no video. I don't need a studio. I don't need people to be looking at me. I don't even want to have my thoughts out there that much. But I know some people would be interested, so that's why I'm putting this out there. It's going to be publicly once a month, 26th of every month. And then the other 2 episodes each month will be on the 2nd and the 6th of each month. If you can't already tell by now, especially given the name, with my 26 cents, I love that number. I don't know why. It's just kind of always like stuck with me. My dad's favorite number is 6. My sister's favorite number is 2 as well. Kind of just like makes sense. It's like, all right, there's 2 people in my life that they both love those numbers. I don't know. It's always spoken to me. But yeah, and the name's pretty self-explanatory. It's just these are my thoughts and stuff. Specifically, I'm not going to be going into like um any particular thing every single time, whether it's a topic or specific like story or whatever, but each episode will for sure roughly revolve around a couple common themes or things that I feel like talking about on that day when I record. A lot of them probably will be like things that happened in my life a long time ago that I'm like, all right, this will be interesting for a lot of people to maybe be wonder about if they're curious about me or something. And then other things will probably just be like kind of what's going on in my life currently, and then maybe a little bit of like news stuff. But I'm gonna try to always make sure it comes back to me and make sure that it's relevant to something that I would have to like have an opinion on at the very least. I'm not really a political person, so if you're here for that kind of stuff, be like, oh, comedian bashes woke this, comedian says whatever about the right, blah blah blah. This is not the place for that. So I mean, there's a lot of other people out there that do that, so be my guest and go somewhere else. That is all right. I just realized I'm like 3 minutes in and I'm already telling people to fucking leave. Jesus Christ, Christopher. Another thing about the pod is that it will pretty much always be just me. Um, I don't really care about guests. I don't even really like going on other podcasts that much. I've only done it a couple times. It's all very unorganized because none of us know what we're doing. We're all just trying to like make a little something for ourselves that we can have a little bit of traction, and then people can click on it or whatever. Problem is when thousands of people do that across the country, each thing kind of ends up becoming the same. And a lot of the times, I think a lot of people are just like hoping that whoever they bring on, which a lot of times it's just their friends. I think they're hoping that like whoever they bring on is going to be like the main entertainment and stuff, and not actually them. And I think maybe at first that was kind of cool when all the podcasts were like really famous, but not necessarily famous people, but people that knew how to talk for like 10 years, 20 plus years, depending on what they're doing, whether it was like radio, comedy, um, maybe TV stuff or whatever. Now it's you literally just have baristas, and me, like a fucking part time editor or whatever that hasn't had a full time job in about a year. Um, but and we're just fucking saying shit. But that's why I was just like, I don't really care about bringing other people on. There's gonna be enough of that. If you really want to hear me interact with other people, then I'll just go do that elsewhere. But I am gonna probably be picky. If they're not gonna be like a friend of mine, I will definitely be picky because I don't want to just go somewhere and kind of like just hang out with somebody I don't really know, and then talk about like whatever with no structure for 2 hours, and then what? We maybe get a clip out of that, and then if they don't even make the clip good, then it's kind of like, all right, we just wasted a couple hours. I think I actually would have gotten more done maybe if I just like stayed home smoking weed. Okay, so today's topic is going to mostly revolve around moving, and the struggles with it, my recent past few years moving a lot, and then kind of like my story from about a year ago, moving from Detroit down to Nashville, um, and whatnot. But before I get into that, I do want to have a little quick rant about technology. It's getting way too complicated. I got this little thing. It's a Focusrite 2i or whatever the hell. I don't know. It's a very simple piece of electronic that fucking you're supposed to just be able to kind of basically just plug things in and you start recording. At least that's how it used to be. Now it's you gotta put it in, download their software. Once you get the software, you gotta like do this, then you gotta open it and like make sure the settings work for all the. This literally took me like a whole day to figure out, and then the only way I finally got it to work is finding a YouTube video that showed how it's possible to just not download any of the software, and then you can just plug the thing in, change a couple settings, and then use this piece of technology as if it was just a piece of technology. You know, like the wires and the chips, and then the thing that plugs the microphone into the system, and then the thing that plugs into the computer. That's really all you should need. That's all this thing, I'm pretty sure if you look up the company, that's probably all that they did need, probably until like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Whenever the hell they're like, these companies are like, you need to have our software for this, our fucking garbage for that. I'm like, dude, this doesn't even work for your employees. Now you're making all of us use it too? This is only like 3 years old. I got this in 2021, like late at the end of the year, I believe. I think third generation, this thing, Focus. Like, it should not be. It works great. I don't understand why when you try to use it half the time, it like what the annoying thing is specifically the issue. Everything will work except for the microphone, like the most important part. It will pick up the audio. It just won't transmit the audio to your computer. So you basically have everything working on the computer and on the piece of technology. It's just the only thing that doesn't work is the one thing you're trying to use the thing for, which is to get your audio. So I don't know. I would say shout out Focusrite. I would just say, I guess, shout out to whoever their competitors are, because I would like to support their competitor next time I'm in the market for a little piece of recording device or whatever. And if their competitor also sucks, then I guess don't shout them out. But competition's always good for products, you know. Usually, if there's one good product and that's it, that's never gonna get better. But there's two okay ones, one of them might get better. Or if there's two good ones, one of them might be great. I don't know. Focusrite might have used to be great. They have a lot of things out there. I don't, dude. This is why do I keep on talking about this? Yeah, no. I moved since like the middle of the pandemic. I've now moved 4 times, and I moved 3 times in 13 months. Between like the end of 2022 and then beginning of 2024. I remember when I moved there. I think it was October 30th of 2020. The state of Michigan was like half still like locked down or whatever. You could still go to work, but it was like there was restrictions. And then after like 2 weeks, not even, I go do my first like open mic in the city after I moved there, and then that was the last day that stuff was open. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna close again for 2 weeks." And then, well, next thing you know, it's March of 2021, and we're finally reopening with restrictions again. So, I don't know. That was an interesting, fun experience, for sure. Maybe wish I would have waited a little bit longer, but you know, it's not like any government knows what they're doing. That's part of the reason why I moved. Like one of the things that really bothered me. I love the state of Michigan, and I think they do a lot of good things there. I don't really know much about politics and the government. The state of Michigan is doing pretty good. But one thing that they really messed up on was this whole federal, like, unemployment money that they got during the pandemic. Because basically what happened is they got money from the federal government, and then they were giving it out based on, I think there was like 12 things on this list. If you qualified for at least one, you would get money. The problem is 2 of the things that they had on that site were not supposed to be reasons why they got money. And because it was federal money, they had to like get it back and then pay back the federal government. Regardless, we're going to fast forward a little bit. So everyone kind of gets that money in 2020. Right? That's when the pandemic happened. That's when people needed the money, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go all the way to 2021 now. Over a year later, most people got their money probably starting in like the spring, so like May or so, and then depending on how long you were unemployed or whatever, you would get that for however long that period was. I got it for a few weeks, then I started working a job in the summer of 2020, so like I didn't get my unemployment. I'm glad I did that based on how this story ends. Um, but it ended up being like 8 grand of money that I got from the government. Cool, cool. It's whatever. We're gonna fast forward. I buy a car after I get like this new job, move to Detroit, everything. I get a letter in the mail that says, "Hey, you didn't actually qualify. We're gonna take all this money back from you." I go through a bunch of these steps and figure out you got to appeal, blah blah blah. I write this whole long ass letter. I find this article that literally says from the governor, Governor Whitmer, Big Gretch, literally says, she's like, okay, we're going to put something in place so that if you got money on accident, you will not have to pay it back. That's not something that should be your responsibility. We fucked up, and you guys shouldn't have to pay the consequences for it. I was like, all right, cool. So we're going to fast forward 6 more months. Now it's April of 2022, and I get something in the mail that says, you have to give us this money back. And I'm like, well, what the hell? I appealed. I checked the thing. My appeal is still like not even been read. So while I'm in the process of them like asking me for money, they haven't even figured out yet if I should be giving it back to them. 6 months later again, we're going to go to August 2022. New letter in the mail. This time, there's nothing I can do about it. This letter specifically states, if you do not pay us back by this date, we will just start to garnish your wages. So I got this new job in 2022. It wasn't amazing pay, but it was pretty good. Get a lot of savings that I literally just have to fork over every single cent of to the government while they haven't even decided if I should be giving them the money back, which the answer is no, based on all the things that they've given me. Well, they never even figured that out. So after I gave them the money back, and like a lot of, I think there's like 300, 400,000 people that are in the same exact situation as me, they just decided to be like on the website, however the hell like Michigan unemployment website works. All those old like appeals, they just kind of like fell into a different category of like they're just done now. So there's nothing we can technically do about it. There's a class action lawsuit. I will put a little screenshot thing in the pod, like if you're watching this on the video. But it's Saunders versus UIA, state of Michigan, and basically improper collections. So where this is going to be going into like the hearings in April, and I will learn. Here's the crazy part: I will learn if we win, which I think we will. I'm gonna get at least $250. That's all I know. This government took 8 grand from me, more from other people, and the only thing we're guaranteed if we win is 250. We might get more. I have no idea. It's insane to me though that it took months for them to give this money out, and then as soon as it might be that we weren't supposed to have it, they were able to take it back just like that and be like, oh, we're going to take it from your paycheck and all this. I don't know. I don't think that's very fair. Granted, I know this probably happens in every state. I know it happened in a lot of places as well during that time period. And it's not the main reason I moved out of Michigan, but it definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know why I would want to live in a place that's, when things go as bad as they possibly can, is going to screw you over. Simple as that. I mean, like, here's the thing. I do not condone violence. I've never even, like, been in a fight. I'm not a violent person and all that. During the pandemic, there was a little movement, militia thing. We had our own. We were the original. Michigan was the original January 6th. They were the OGs because they went and tried to kidnap the governor, and there's various reports on what they were planning to do after. It's kind of crazy. There were some things that were like, oh, we're gonna just tie her up and then do nothing. And then some of them were like holding her hostage, and then others were like really graphic. They're like, we're gonna cut her head off or something, which is crazy. Please do not. Again, I need to say, please do not do that. Do not go after politicians, Big Gretch, Whitmer. All I will say is that of the people that like were part of that group or whatever that wanted to kill the governor, again, not a good idea. I do not condone it. It's illegal. You should never do something like that. That's not the way to solve any issue. But I will say, I do understand. That's all I'm going to say. I understand their frustration and or anger. and I'll just leave it there. Um, let's talk about my journey coming from Michigan to Tennessee. You guys will see in the picture, that's going to be like the main picture of this episode, if you're watching, that my car was absolutely full to the brim. And this was the second time in my life I've actually driven a car like this. The first time, it was a bigger one. It was my family's Subaru Outback, so it could hold a lot more stuff. So that was my junior year of college. I was driving back up from Ohio to Michigan, and I had this thing full all the way. The trunk was full, the second row was all the way full, and then even the passenger seat was full to the point where I could not even see out of the mirror. Like, it was full all the way up to like the front. That right side mirror it was not even close. You could not try. So, and I also wasn't able to use the rear view. So I literally just had one mirror. The whole strategy of that drive back was stay in the right lane as much as possible, if not indefinitely, until we reach the destination. And then if we end up getting stuck behind a car or like a semi, or we just have to move, we have to make sure that like there's no one behind us, which the only way to do that is to figure out a way to get a car behind you through like your knowledge or whatever. Maybe you just see a car like from the left kind of go behind you, and then speed up so much where you can see them for sure behind you in your left view mirror, and then be like, okay, I think we can go now. We're going to slide over. So I had to do that again, and you'll see this picture. I did that the second time in my life, going from Detroit to Nashville last year. And what made this really funny, the second time I did a little bit smarter. This time, if you lean forward, like basically kissing the steering wheel, which for me is not that much because I'm so tiny, like I'm already close up there, you could see out of the right view mirror. The right view mirror, right side mirror, whatever the hell. You could see out of that. So that would be not as dangerous as my previous experience. However, it was still very, very difficult. This time around, though, my car definitely looked a little bit messier. So I got to this rest station. Got probably in Kentucky or Ohio, somewhere. And I'm at this rest station just trying to like close my eyes, like rest a little bit, sleeping for maybe like 20 minutes. And this guy just comes and knocks on my window. And I was like, hey, do you need something? And then he's like trying to talk to me through it almost aggressively. So I like didn't roll it down right away. I was kind of like confused. I know a lot of stuff can happen at rest stops or whatever. And then he's like, I want to give you $20. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And then so I roll down the window, and the guy's telling me, he's like, I want to give you $20. You look like you need $20. And I was like, nah, I'm good, man. Like, I'm just moving, blah, blah, blah. He was convinced that I was homeless. He was like, no, you're taking this money. And I was like, dude, like, I don't need $20. He's like, dude, if you have trash bags in your car, you need $20. And I didn't have an argument for that. I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll just take this. I used that money to get a pizza. I still have the same $20 bill. I used a different 20 to get pizza that night, but I still kept that bill because I think there's going to be a time when I might see somebody, probably with trash bags in their car, and I'm going to remember and be like, this guy needs $20. I don't think I needed it then. I don't know. It was such a funny thing that somebody just thought I was homeless. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation. I'd like dressed where I'm like, okay, like this is like a homeless outfit. But like this guy, he did not believe me that I wasn't. That was the thing that was crazy. I was like, I wanted to almost show him. I was like, dude, I have money in my bank account. Like, I'm not homeless. But he wouldn't take no for an answer, and forced me to take $20 from him. So, I mean, I'm drinking a Dutch Bros coffee. I've never had Dutch Bros before. I didn't know what they had. I went there, and it says drive-through, so I go to one lane, and then I have to go all the way around, because that lane apparently is just like an extra lane. And then I go, and they have like one tiny sign on the right side, while you take the order on the left with some like lady that's like got a little iPad and stuff. She was like, can you pull up all the way this way? And then I do, and then she's like, oh wait, sorry, like, do you still need to read the sign? So I gotta like turn my head around, look behind me to the right. Like, not this. The sign's not on the driver's side; it's on the right side. This makes zero sense. And then I had to like order like I'm trying to like read like across my shoulder and order something like to her. I don't know. Dutch oven. Like it's not even that good. It's just big. That's really all it is. Dutch Bros, Dutch oven. Fart in a cup. I don't know why I said that. That was really unnecessary. Um, no, Southern hospitality is definitely a nice thing. I will say, I think people in the Midwest are still nicer. It's just immediately right off the bat, the Southern people come off as nicer. Um, because I maybe they just have a little more confidence up. I think in the Midwest and stuff, we're just so cold. Like if I don't have to speak or say more than like one word, I'm just not going to, cause like it's a lot of energy and I need to stay warm, man. Like I don't know, I got chapped lips. If I say like 7 more words, one of them's gonna fall off, and I can't kiss nobody. Uh, now it's nice. It's nice to be able to lean on something like that, though. Like, I don't know if you necessarily can do that all the time somewhere like the Midwest, because sometimes you do just want to be reserved. I have noticed people are a little more chatty down in the South, which is nice. It's nice to, especially in a place if you don't know a lot of people or anybody, to just be able to pick up a conversation and kind of like have a nice rapport with somebody. Because moving just in general still like sucks. A year later, I've been here for a year. I still don't have like the main TV set up or whatever. It took me 6 months to get my couch. I still got none of the pictures hung up. I actually did hang up 5 pictures. I tried 6, one fell right away, and then as of now, only one is still standing. They've fallen for various reasons, but all of those reasons include the storms and, more importantly, the stomping neighbors upstairs. But that's one thing that just bothers me about moving is it just takes so long for like stuff to get set up and get situated. And like once you feel like you're finally at home, it's like, well, now you need to move again. Or if you don't need to move, it's like, well, now like you need something else. Like you need to get a KitchenAid. You need to get a mixer. You got to make a cake for your mom. I don't know why I got a little like Italian gang member there. You gotta get a little incense tray. I'm just like looking across my house. Like once you get everything there and set up, you're like, all right, cool. But then if we're not moving again, you want to make sure you're like, all right, well, this is I want to make it a place I want to stay. You know, you don't want to have a place where you're just like, oh, well, I'm not moving, but this thing's a piece of shit. I hope I don't know. I've always wanted to enjoy where I live. Um, all right, I'm going to end this pod episode today a little differently than I probably normally will. Normally, I'm just going to get out of here and be like, all right, that's our time. Peace. 26 minutes is up. Have a good week or month or whatever. This time around, though, I do just want to say if you guys have any sort of things you want to address about like me doing something particularly well, or more importantly, like doing something differently so I can improve the experience for you guys. And whether it's for this podcast, like I know the first time I recorded this, the audio levels were just really, really low. And I know somebody else wrote a comment about the audio levels of the episodes of Four Dudes. Apparently, the intro audio is much louder than the actual contents of the episode. I will be addressing that going forward, so hopefully, starting with episode 18 and onward, they will have a newer intro that's touched up, and then obviously that audio level will be hopefully brought down. I really appreciate anything like that. It at the end of the day, I'm making this stuff mostly because I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, I enjoy doing it because I know I can make somebody happy. So if there's any like way that I can make more people happy, then I'm definitely gonna do it. I don't know why I would not. At least I don't know why I wouldn't read the suggestion or consider it, especially when I'm so new to something. So yeah, just feel free to put whatever. Put a story down there of when you moved and you hated it and whatever, or just anything. I don't know. Or just don't. I really, if you don't feel like leaving something, like, I don't know. I'm not going to be one of those content creators, comedian podcasters. It's like, you gotta suck my anal beads out of my fucking mouth. And then if you do that, maybe I'll get like 3 more views, and then we'll go to Patreon and go to the moon. Yeah, that shit's always bothered me. The aggressiveness to be like, oh, you gotta like, or I hate the. You see this on a lot of video game channels. I absolutely loathe whenever I see the I have 900,000 viewers or whatever, but only 2% of them are subscribed. And so it's every single time, and then the next time it's like, oh, I got 950 and only 3% of you. I'm like, you don't gotta say it like every single time. It gets so, and it makes me want to not subscribe because I'm just like, I'm gonna see the video either. YouTube doesn't work like that anymore. YouTube used to be like, oh, you get the subscribe thing, um, and then everyone just goes like their subscriptions. That would be what you see in the feed. The way the algorithm works now, it's fucking, you watch something once and then now that's your whole feed. So yeah, just do whatever you guys want. I don't really care. Well, I do care, but like, I think you guys know. I care the most about you doing what you want, and just, I don't know. Yeah. Peace. Thank you guys. We're gonna have fun here.